Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about what's going on with the price of the home built guns and what's likely to happen. Okay, so for those of you guys that are already into this, you will have noticed that the price of the frames has already gone up by about $30. Okay, so the plain ones I was getting for the frames, I was getting them for $100. Now getting them for about $130. The ones that are like this one here from Armor Ally, I was getting this for 150. The price had actually gone all the way up to 220, and they brought it back down to 180. So again, so instead of 150, I'm paying 180 for that. So it's gone up by $30. Okay, so I've seen this across a lot of different places. The price of the frames has gone up by about $30. However, the price of the lower parts kits, slide part kits, the slides themselves, and the barrels has come down. Okay, so on average, it's costing me less to build the guns because all the other parts are cheaper. Okay, now, what I expect to happen after August, right, when the new ATF rules kick in, and I know, and in fact, they're trying to get ahead of that. They're actually trying to enforce that sooner rather than later. They did send a cease and desist letter to JSD Supply because they know that we are, buying frames now and just stacking them up like 10 feet high, right? They've caught on to that, and they're doing everything that they can to try and stop that, but they're not being very successful at it. Okay, in fact, I would say that, if Biden and the ATF had not done or said anything, maybe over the course of the next 10 years, I don't know, maybe 2 million of these would have been built, okay, over 10 years because of what Biden and the ATF has done. I would guess that within just a year, probably about 10 million of these have been built, or the parts to build them, have been put into circulation. Okay, so the net result is there would have been less of these home built guns out there if they had done absolutely nothing. All they have done through these unconstitutional efforts is get more people to buy them and buy them now. Okay, and that's kind of important to us because I would rather have these in the hands of the people now than spread out over 10 years, right? And we got a lot more of these now out there than if they hadn't done nothing. Okay, so that said, what's likely to happen? We explain the situation now. Now frames have gone up a little bit. The price of everything else has come down. I expect that by next year, because after August, you're not going to be able to buy unserialized frames and have them shipped to your house. They have to be serialized. They got to go to an FFL unless something changes something happens in the courts, which I don't have a whole lot of confidence in. But unless and the reason why I say that is because the bump stock case is still undecided. Okay, so unless something happens in the courts, let's assume that that's what's going to happen. You're not going to be able to buy these unserialized frames after August of 2022. So where does that leave things, right? So here's the thing. First of all, everybody like myself has bought like enough frames to stack them up like 10 feet high. Okay, so we've already got the frames. I haven't been buying the other parts because they're not going to be restricted. So there's no rush for me to buy those other parts. Those other parts I'll buy slowly as I find good prices. Okay, so I mean, there's no pressure on me to buy the lower parts kits, the slide parts kits, the barrels, or the slides. So here's the thing: what's going to happen after August 2022? Well, I'm certainly not interested in buying any more frames because, first of all, I don't want them serialized sent to an FFL. Why would I want to do that? But here's the thing: I've got so many that I really don't need any more. Okay, so there's like zero chance that I'm going to probably continue to be buying frames after August 2022. So what's going to happen? Now, initially, all these people have bought these frames. frames aren't going to be available, but the slides, the barrels, the parts kits are going to be available, and they're going to continue to produce those, right? So what you're going to start seeing is that you're going to start seeing more of these other parts going on sale. And Palmetto's been running some great sales where I've been getting complete slides without the barrel for like, I think $120, right? So I've been getting the slide, internal parts, internal slide parts, and sights on it for $120, okay? That's the only time I'm jumping in to buy slides at this point. Because again, I got so many, there's no pressure on me to buy any of that stuff. So I'm looking for deals. So in the future, what's going to happen is, you can't sell frames. So now you got all these companies out there that are still producing slides and parts kits and all these barrels. And now they're going to be trying, they're going to keep trying to sell that stuff. And what's going to happen is as things move along, eventually, like all the people that bought frames, they're gonna get the rest of the parts that they need, and there's gonna end up being an oversupply of other parts that's available for sale, right? Because remember, the frames are no longer gonna be available for sale, so that's cut off. So now you got all these manufacturers and distributors trying to push slides, and the market that they're pushing it to is going to be getting increasingly smaller and smaller, right? So if I've got, I don't know, just pulling a wild number out of my, let's say I've got 100 frames, right? Okay, so I start buying the slides and the parts kits, right? Now every time, fine, I buy one, there's no pressure on me to build another one and another one and another one, unless the deal is really, really sweet, right? So the price is going to start coming lower and lower and lower and lower. And I think that's also going to happen with the optics. I think the optic price is also going to start coming down lower and lower, because I think one of the things that's been pushing the sale of these Holosun 507 pistol optics is the fact that people have been building these at such a furious pace. So in the future, that's going to slow down a bit. All right. The point here is get your frames now. Get them at any price. I don't care what I don't care if you're paying $200, even $300 for the frames. You're gonna make up for that down the road when you're getting like the slides and the parts kits and all the other stuff dirt cheap. All right. So that's where I think we are right now. So even with all the inflation factored in, I think that you're gonna be doing very well in the future. But you gotta get the frames now. Okay. Once you get the frames, now you've got the luxury of just, waiting it out, There's no pressure on you to buy slides in the future, right? The slides are always going to be there, right? The barrels are always going to be there. It's not likely they're going to try and change the rules on that. But in order to play that game and get those other parts at a sweet deal, you've got to have the frames. If you don't got the frames, you can't play that game. You're pretty much out of that loop. So get your frames now, stack them up 10 feet high, because regardless of what you're paying for the frames now, in the future, all the other parts are going to be really cheap. And I'm talking like even premium stuff, right? Even the premium stuff is going to be cheap, because who are they going to sell it to? Okay, the only people that they're going to be able to sell it to are the people who have already bought these, right? So it's kind of like on the customer side, on the demand side, that market's going to be fixed. You can only sell to the people that have already bought to this. There aren't more people that can come into the market. Now, at some point, it might be 2 years down the road, right? I don't know how long, but at some point they're going to figure out that, hey, they're just, since people can't get frames, they're not buying slides. So at some point they will cut back the production on the parts kits, the barrels, the slides, and at some point in the future, either 2 or 3 years down the road, you're going to start seeing those prices go back up to normal levels. So, you don't want to wait it out forever, right? There's going to probably be a two-year gap, a 2-year window there, starting, I would say maybe next summer, where you can get these. I would say probably by Christmas of 2022, you're going to start seeing some really sweet deals on slides and barrels and parts kits, and it's going to you know, for the next 2 years after that, you're gonna see lots of really sweet deals. And then after that, the market's gonna start to dry up within about 3 years, I think. So that's what I expect. I think it makes sense. Let me know what you guys think. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Odyssey, which is an uncensored channel. That's spelled Odyssee. And my channel name over there is Pocono Tactical. Thanks a lot. Talk to you all soon.